Before you watch the video that you just clicked on, I want to let you guys know about the deal going on at Strength Coach Network right now in the month of December 2022. If you sign up for Fundamentals 1 or 2, you will get a year to the membership site at Strength Coach Network for free. All right, that year free usually costs people $300. I guess $299, so just under. But if you sign up for Fundamentals 1 or 2, which is the long form education resource, you're going to get a free year to the membership site, which typically costs you $299 for free if you decide to sign up in the month of December. Go ahead and check the comments below to be able to see what we're talking about and take advantage of this deal. I'm going to stop talking now so you can watch the video that you clicked on. Later.
The benefits, everything that we're doing is moving forward and dropping the MSKs down, but the high level seems that they're bought in on it because there's timelines that stretch out to 2030 to get us into guard units and get us like across the military. So we're very much in the ground level of it, and the individuals that are coming up are kind of on the younger side, and they're having actually experienced going through H2F strength and conditioning programming. Is like, this works. I don't feel like crap all the time, and my run times are getting better. It's like, yeah, you can have both. You don't need to feel like shit in order to move forward. Like you can feel good and get better. It's kind of a strange idea.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah, you just gotta tone it down a little bit. You can't redline it all the time. Get in that happy optimal dose category, and try to move forward as we go instead of just getting kicked down a flight of stairs every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. But
so I have a friend of mine who she graduated Ranger School and was, doing all sorts of, PT and had the tests. And my question is, are you guys at the H2F program more concerned or tasked with improving PT times, improving PT tests for soldiers, or is it reducing the musculoskeletal injuries? Like what's the KPI for success for you?
Admittedly, but from my contractor, it's been the client being happy with the service, which is,
I mean, shoot, you could say that about all of our jobs,
right? So at least in my mind, if we change nothing else but reducing the MSKs as a result, or musculoskeletal injuries as a result of PT sessions and making sure that we're keeping folks healthier, it's like if the ACFT scores, the current Army physical fitness scores, we change nothing there, but they stop getting hurt at PT, that's a win. And it's kind of, frankly, that's where I was at with college strength and conditioning too. Is like, if nothing else, if 100% of us are able to show up to practice for every practice, we're going to have the opportunity to get better at sports. If 100% of us are deployable, that means we're going to be able to at least go to war. Now, whether or not, like, does everybody a super soldier? No, but we're ready to go. Nobody's broken as a result of something. Like, we can dose this the right way. So at least to me, there's that. But then it all depends on soldier to soldier, NCO to NCO. Oh, the officer in charge was like, well, some of them want to see CFT scores go up. Other folks are just happy that they just don't feel like crap all the time and they're able to do their jobs. Because I'm working with an infantry battalion, which is like boots on the ground, gritty stuff. Like, then there's support battalions where it's office, warehouse, distro, cooks, like fairly, like, by comparison, they don't need to be as physically high speed, right? So they might be down here. So it's just like a workplace wellness program for them, and they don't necessarily care how fast their 2 mile is. Whereas this guy's trying to go to Ranger School and he wants to tick that up. So that's going to be highly variable. But the ACFT is like kind of the main kit if we want a verifiable measure of the things that we're moving forward. That's been the big one. And everybody's all about the run times too, because probably the biggest thing that H2F changes, like if we're broad strokes, at least between the two groups that I've been to and everyone else I've talked to, is that we end up dropping running volumes so much for these folks because they're just like, yeah, we'll run 5 miles on Monday and another 5 miles on Wednesday, and then we'll do a 10 miler on Friday. And it's just like, and then they have knees, ankles, hips issues. Like, weird. So they're not prepared for the mileage, but we drop the mileage back down. They start feeling a little bit better, and then the run times still get better. So it's like in their brains, we're essentially just dealing with a cross-country tapering problem. We're like, I'm not doing enough going into conference. It was like, no, you're actually doing just enough now instead of overloading yourself. So the 2 mile run has been the big indicator of it. And frankly, with the amount of strength training we're able to do, with the amount of they have a limited amount of equipment. The strength power stuff, like if we manage to move the needle on that, it's more of an indicator of how woefully weak they are than it is how successful the programming is, because we're just not able to, like, any 2+ day lift is going to be the exception to the rule, I think, with at least in our situation. There's other situations that might have much better weight strength and conditioning, like setups, barbells, weights, indoor facilities, but we're in the Pacific Northwest. It rains a lot, it's cold, and we don't have a whole lot of barbells and weights, so it's like we're not able to do that as much, so we end up getting a little bit more creative with the strength side. Yeah.
So here's a question that's probably gonna, this could spark a good conversation here.
Yeah.
You were in college,
Mhm.
you're in military. You know, people in college love doing the military training. Elaborate on how that is, frankly, just wrong and completely misguided. I'll say it. It's my opinion that I think it's misguided when college teams try to bring in a team or a person to do military PT training with their team or their coaches. But you've actually seen it. And we've had another guest on that has talked about it. So I'd like your opinion.
The funniest thing to me was I was watching one of Justin's sessions, and they utilized jumping jacks as a warm-up exercise, and the absolute anarchy that ensued. There's no cadence. There's nothing. It was like they just started doing jumping jacks. It was 50 individuals doing jumping jacks with no rhythm, nothing at all. Just like, so the thing that you're supposed to be spelling something out in this hyper-disciplined manner, and here we are at the Army, where it's like there's a major over there who's talking with somebody, and it's just like it's all loose goose jumping jacks, just like no rhythm, no rhyme or reason, just like doing 20 jumping jacks was like, oh yeah, so all of the things that we've been fed about what the military is it's not this, well, at least it's not true at the base level here. I doubt, and special forces doesn't PT together, so it's, I will say, like, when there's orders, and they do listen to that stuff, but it's like there's no, like, my second day on the job, so we're doing buddy carries. Justin's probably laughing already. It's like what they're doing buddy carries is feet in the dirt. We're on the parade ground for a brigade, so we're basically digging little trenches in the ground because they've got buddy underneath you, their feet are on the ground, you're digging it. So major comes up to me. So it's like major in the Army, brigade level guy is just like, hey, so two things. We're doing a change of command here and like tearing up the grass, just like this kind of, can we not? And second thing, the NCOs should be leading this. I asked one of the guys at the end, just like, who's leading it? They said H2F. And it was like the calmest day. I've been MF'd so much harder as a former college football player, and even at work. Like, this is a major in the Army in his green suit with every right to just be like jumping down my throat with the new guy. And it's just like even keeled conversation. It's just like, it's like, all right, we got it. Walks away. So like all of this like high strung stuff is just like, yeah, no, I've walked by sometimes and folks get smoked out. Now that's a different thing because it's usually discipline, like a low level disciplinary thing in the barracks. So like that's a different story. But like there's a lot of interaction where it's just like this is the level of like, we need to get this fixed. Roger. I don't know. It's
no.
But with the Army too, it's like I know Justin mentioned just like you're getting Captain America before the super serum. It was like, well, yeah, because like some of them are just warehouse workers. Like there's just because they're in a green suit doesn't make them a badass. It's an IT specialist. Like their job is computers, so it's like they don't necessarily need to be the guy that survives Ranger School, and they have no intent to do that. So you end up with dealing with a broad scope of folks. And at least in my case, like coming from Division III, is I had to deal with women's golf, and then I have football offensive and defensive linemen. There's like those are two very different personalities that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and like what the cognitive makeup, it's like the psychological makeup, what they're there for, what drives them. Like you get a economics major who's just like, I'm just here because I like getting good at sports, and you have an exercise science kid who's like, you draw a fitness fatigue curve, and they're just dinner plates absorbing it all. It's like what motivates everybody's going to be different, so reaching everybody's going to be different, right? It's like the support folk who's just ETSing and leaving the military at the end of his contract in 6 months is just like, what's going to motivate him is going to be very different than the guy who's shooting to go to selection or to Ranger school. So trying to reach everybody is going to be a different challenge.
I mean, it sounds like you're very happy over there, and that's awesome. How much of the 4Ps went into any of your decision-making process when you were leaving and then, going to your current position?
The personal life one was huge because I didn't hit the problem. Like I left before the problem. Like it was like not paying Josh resulted in me realizing like I've seen this movie before. This results in me getting burned out. I'm not living it. Like I'm getting out. So the personal life, because it's like it wasn't able to see the girlfriend much. Like my parents lived 10, 15 minutes up the road. I was hardly ever to see them at all. It's like just because like you get through a work week, it's like, wow, there's games on Saturday. Like I should go. Like I live in town. Like there's no reason not to. It's like so like missing out on family things. Like I got tired of missing out on weddings. It's just like I needed to stop doing that. Pay, yep, it's raised in short, especially if you factor in hours worked to dollars made. It's a big win. What was the other one? Professional satisfaction. I mean, for me, it's a new challenge too. Because like college athletics, like I went to every level that isn't Power 5. If you want to differentiate D1, Power 5, and D1, everybody else, which I think is warranted because having interviewed for some positions where it's like, you're going to give me all of that for just the pardon versus 450 athletes and $7 in good intentions as a budget. So, but it's a new problem. Like it's a very satisfying problem for that matter too. Because like there isn't anything higher stakes than military. I'm probably missing the 4th P somewhere along the way.
Sense of greater purpose.
Yeah, and that's probably touched on that a bit here too, because it's like it's been a shell shock showing up to work and being a weirdo that's in gym clothes and everybody else is in a green suit or just like full military uniform after 9:30. But it's the sense of purpose with it and recognizing that what it is we're trying to do, and the balloon goes up in 72 hours. These guys got to be ready to go. Like there's a gravity to it that strikes me every now and again that this has a lot more consequence than just making sure that we're not fatigued for Saturday afternoon.
I don't think there's a better place to end this right here. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. If anybody wants to follow you or get in touch with you, where can they do so?
So all my social media is just A Brodjeski. So A, B as in boy, RODJESKI. There's only been 2 of me, and the other one is long past, unfortunately. So Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. I'm small enough social media following that I usually get back to people when they DM me, regardless. Just like all 500 of my followers. As far as products go, I'm starting to try to push things a little bit because I have spare time now. Trying to start to get back into the club volleyball space a little bit. So trying to provide programming to them, whether it's big club level or just in-house high school stuff, or just like since that if I had to file myself down to one niche, despite this intensely broad resume I've managed to develop, it would probably be the club volleyball space. So
awesome, man. Thank you for being here with us again tonight.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
See you.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.